I'm Christie Evans. I'm the STEM coordinator and a 6-7 teacher at Seaview Downs, and this is my industry partner. So this is Ben Gleed. He's a project manager at Fulton Hogan Construction. My relationship with Fulton Hogan in terms of STEM started in 2016. My husband actually works for Fulton Hogan, so probably started a bit before that, but he used to come home and talk about all sorts of projects that he was working on, and at the time, in 2016, I was working with ASMS, looking at how to connect with industry partners, and it didn't actually dawn on me until I was sitting there at the dinner table one time and he's talking about this project on the Riverland, and I thought, hey, you know what, my kids can do that, my kids can engage with that. So we had our first project in 2016 with Fulton Hogan.
Why Fulton Hogan in it? Apart from the fact that Christie knows Dave and we've got the good link there, Fulton Hogan are a very community-orientated business. We like to give back. And I guess the other benefit we get out of it is we get name association. So all these kids coming through school, whether they end up as engineers or technicians or construction workers, I mean, Fulton Hogan's going to be on their mind when they come to looking for work, and they're in demand at the moment, so it's good for us. And here we get to see solutions that we may not have otherwise thought of. So it's always good for us to see what the kids come up with.
I have to build on that because after the 2016 project with Fulton Hogan, we're on our way to see the museum, and we're on excursion, and we're walking around along Man South Road, and a ute with Fulton Hogan on the side drove past. A poor guy driving the ute. All 60 kids were like, "Woo, Fulton Hogan!" and they came rushing to the side of the road. I think we traumatised the poor guy in the ute. But that name association, they'll never forget Fulton Hogan because they work so closely with them. Seldom do primary school students, although having said that, I've seen it a lot at this summit, which is fantastic, but not often do primary school students get the opportunity to work with industry scientists, engineers, mathematicians and technicians coming into school and really sharing their real world problem, and that's really important. At primary school, they haven't decided what they want to be yet. They're deciding whether they even like maths or not. So if we can inspire them nice and early, they've got more of an opportunity to take those pathways. So when they get to high school in year 8, they'll know what they want to do vaguely and what subjects they want to take, and hopefully they'll pursue those sciences and those maths and those STEM-based subjects. When you look at the general capabilities, all the words in the general capabilities, it's all about applying or using or demonstrating. So these sort of STEM problem-based learning gives us the opportunity to really see the students in action, really applying their knowledge and understanding, which for us enables teachers to be able to moderate and be able to assess general capabilities and the Australian curriculum. But I can't stress the importance enough to make that conscious connection with the Australian curriculum in this year level that you're assessing before you embark on this project.
The problem we've got is that we've got to build an earthen levee or some sort of road to get us across to build that structure on that bit of land. So that's a problem we've given to the kids, is how are they going to build that road across there for us. And with this project, there's a number of things we've got to take into account. So the environmental aspects of it, the flora and the fauna, potentially acid sulphate soils up there. So there's a number of things that the kids got to look at, not just building a road out through there. So what we done is we went down and talked about the problem with the kids at Seaview Downs early on, and then they all got on a bus and come up and visited the site.
I have to say that when Ben came and presented the problem to the students, they were somewhat overwhelmed by all of that. However, when we went out there, it suddenly became very real. And when you're talking about reeds versus walking next to reeds that are towering above you, you suddenly can see the problem very clearly. So how do you start? Pretty complex problem for 11-year-olds. So you have to unpack it. We wanted to come up with a question that we could investigate. But we wanted the students to drive that question, come up with the questions themselves. What tended to happen was we had lots of little questions. Well, what about the animals that live in the reeds? Are you going to take that tree out? What does that mean? A lot of environmental questions because the kids are working from what they know. We wouldn't expect them to come up with a question about construction materials because they don't know that yet. But the development of lots of little questions has really guided their research. So their central question is a non-Googleable big question that's going to be guided by lots of small questions. So as you can see, it's quite a complex mind map. And they have lots and lots of questions. And this is a growing mind map. So this isn't static. It will continue to get bigger and bigger as the kids find out more and more and develop new questions as they go. This is a Poplet, by the way. It's an iPad app if you're interested. So where are we now? So we're in the research phase. So it actually took us 3 lessons just to develop some questions. Asking questions is actually not an easy task. Asking meaningful questions took us some time to develop those skills. So we are now researching the answers to some of those questions. So as you can see, there's students having a look at water samples. They identified pretty early that they didn't actually know what was in the water. So we went and got a water sample and they had a look for themselves. And then essentially made a big long list of what was living in there, how big it was, and if there were indicators of the health of the waterway. You can see there we've actually invited a mentor from SA Water to come and help us with the construction part. So I don't know all of the different materials that you can use in constructing bridges or roads through waterways. I don't have that information. So we outsourced that and he came and spoke to the kids about maybe some possible resources that they could access to be able to solve some of their problems.
I guess the takeaway is the kids don't have to come up with the right solution. There's probably a number of solutions that they can come up with, and it's probably just about encouraging them to take a fairly broad view of the problem and see what they come back with.